So there's this topic that, that's kind of hot and that causes division, and it kind of dictates whether you're like Democrat or whether, you're extreme liberal in that party, or if you're a Republican and you're a conservative. And it's just another like hot topic that keeps us divided. And I was listening to Joe Rogan and Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not sure if I think I said her name correctly. And they were talking about just different things when it comes to like sexual things with our body, what is being taught in school. Now, I want to be clear, I don't have any firsthand experience as far as knowing what is happening with the different schools. And I'm sure, based off of where your state is, it probably changes. My personal opinion about, these kids learning about major sexual things as far as, oral, or even how gay men have sex or anything like that, I just think it's so premature. And I think that as a society, we have kind of assumed that, things have been so sexual and sexualized, especially when I was a kid. And so, you had Madonna and stuff like that. You had the racy stuff. And I think that we all assume that we need to inform these kids and teach these kids, and they need to figure out their sexuality at such a young age. And I just don't think that is a fair ask. And I don't think that is even something that should be even in their realm of even trying to comprehend or, taught to them. And my personal take on that is, I'll never forget, in 4th grade, I had, we did like sex education back then. And this was, I graduated from high school in 97. So this was a little while back. And I remember we were talking about like pads and proper hygiene and that kind of thing. And it was, for girls that were starting their period. And it touched a little bit, very, very brief on the reproductive like organs and stuff, but nothing really specific. I remember it being kind of like characteristics as far as like animated. Like it wasn't like this huge grown up, like, let's talk about your sexuality, let's talk about sex. It was nothing like that. And I remember after that class, because my mom, I was very naive. I played outside. I was a tomboy. I was pretty rugged. I played with the boys and stuff like that. I had no comprehending of what I was even learning or understanding. And I'll never forget going home, and my mom, she knew about it, and she had asked me if I had any questions, and I didn't have any questions because I had no idea what they were talking about. And I think for me personally, like, it was a huge blessing that it wasn't something I was focused on. I wasn't focused on having like my first relationship. I wasn't focused on any of that. Like, I was just a kid and I just liked to play, and life was simpler. And, it's crazy because later that year, we were in the cafeteria at school, and my buddy, Dustin at the time, I was always like really close with the boys. He had seen the bathroom door open in the cafeteria, and he saw these dispensers on the wall. Well, I had never really paid too much attention to the dispensers. They always had been there, and I didn't read too much into it. And so I remember him asking me, he's like, hey, what are those dispensers in the girls' bathroom? And I was like, I don't know. And I'm like, they just have like 10, they asked for 10 cents. So he told me, he goes, I'll give you 10 cents if you get me one of those. So sure enough, I like went in there, I got him. It ended up being a tampon. Again, didn't know what that was. And I'll never forget, so we finished eating in the cafeteria. Dustin goes outside, and he's whipping this tampon around, right, saying Yahoo. And I remember him getting pulled aside by one of the teachers that was out on recess duty, and asked him where he had gotten that. And he said, well, Katie got it for me. And I got called into the principal's office, and my mom got contacted. And it wasn't until truly later in life that I understood what that was. It was a feminine product. And I laugh now because my girls, I have learned stuff from my kids, from either their friends or from they learned at school or whatever about different sexuality. They come home and they talk about, well, so-and-so thinks they might be bi, and different things like that. And I heard a quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but someone had once said that, like, your sexuality is not something that should ever be on display. it's a private thing, and it's usually something that you share with somebody else. And I think we've gotten so far away from that. And again, I'm not this ultra, I am a lesbian, so I'm not someone that can sit here and be like this super ultra, conservative, religious person. I mean, I have my own beliefs and stuff, but I just think that it's so important that I think a little naiveness in a world that is overly filled with sexuality is not a bad thing. And I think our kids need to keep as much innocence as they possibly can, and learn and grow and evolve their characters in so many other ways that are so much more important, because sexuality is really not something that's you should be sharing with everybody or making it seem that it's as casual as it is. I still believe that it is something that is personal, it's private. It's not something that needs to be talked about in school, just like it shouldn't be talked about in the workplace. We don't go to work, or we shouldn't, there's sexual harassment clauses now, and talk about these things, but yet we have them in our schools. And that's just my personal opinion. I like that our kids not to know so much about something that is such a grown-up topic. It takes a lot of maturity to understand your body and to be able to share that with somebody else and understand and respect somebody else's body. So I don't know, that's my rant for the day. I don't know if I'll post this or not, because I know it's like a huge gray area, and I don't want to get it's sad. You can't just have an open conversation without ruffling feathers with people, or worrying about how people are going to perceive you in your family or in society. It's super challenging, but I just felt compelled to kind of give my take on it. And I appreciate anybody that listens, and thanks for listening to the rant, and I hope everybody has a good day.